let's make a double crust peach cobbler. This is going to be good. Just take a look at that buttery crust and that delicious filling. So I'm starting off making my filling, which is going to have some peaches, some flour, some cinnamon, some nutmeg, and I cook that down for about 10 to 15 minutes just to make sure that it gets a little bit thickened and the peaches get softened some. So then I'm going to set it aside and let it cool down and start to roll out my dough. Now I probably should have let this come completely to room temperature before I started rolling it out, because it would have been easier to roll and the ends wouldn't have torn as much as they have. But that's okay, because when it tears, all I gotta do is just press it together and then just keep on rolling. So what I'm gonna do as I'm rolling it, I then turn it so that it doesn't stick to the parchment paper, because even though it's parchment, this stuff will still stick. It's got butter and you can probably see the butter that's in there. And those butter pieces are going to make it flaky and delicious. I like it much better than using shortening, because shortening doesn't have any flavor and the butter does, and it still gets very flaky. And while I'm rolling it out, I turn it so that it doesn't stick to the parchment, because even though parchment is pretty much non-stick, it can still stick. So I then roll it up on my rolling pin and then roll it right over the baking dish, which I've got an 8x8 that I'm using. I think that'll work the best for this because it's not too big and it's not too small. You don't end up with a lot of space. So after I press the dough on the sides, I then cut off the excess dough and just put it to the side just in case I might need it. Now I'm going to start to add my filling that I was letting cool while I was getting my pie dough ready for the baking dish. And at this point, I want to make sure that my oven is ready and preheated to 350 degrees, because the next step will be rolling out the next piece of dough that'll go on top. And I'm going to roll that onto my pan like I did with the last one, because it just makes it a whole lot easier getting it on the top without making a mess or tearing the dough if I'm trying to lift it up. And I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to cut any of the excess that I don't need and put it to the side, because I still might need some in case I do make some tears. And I just use regular kitchen shears for this. I'm not using anything special, but the shears that I use, I'm only using for the kitchen. I make sure that they're clean before and after I use them every single time. These are not shears that I use for cutting anything else like paper. These are strictly for kitchen use, which you should have some too. And after I've got those cut, I want to crimp my edges to make sure that I've got it sealed in pretty good, because I want to keep as much from coming out of the sides as possible, because as it cooks, it will bubble up and it will want to escape and it will find a way out. And I will show you a way to fix that so you don't have as much seepage going out of the sides, messing up the look of your cobbler and burning the bottom of your stove. Nobody wants that. So I'm going to brush the top with an egg wash. And all an egg wash is just an egg and a little bit of water. And I add the water to it so that it wouldn't get as brown as it would if it were just the egg by itself. So after I do my egg wash, I'm then going to sprinkle it with some sugar. This is just going to add a little sweetness and a little bit of texture to the top. And I'm going to put it into the oven at 350 until it's done. And this is what it looks like when it comes out. Now, doesn't this look delicious? This is exactly what you want to see when you have a double crust peach cobbler. This is the way that I make it every single time, and it comes out absolutely wonderful. Just look at that. All it needs is a little bit of vanilla ice cream.